Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome everybody to tonight's edition of Yes You with Friends. And I appreciate everybody that has joined me on this fine day. I want to say good evening to Rhonda and Jana. And
Good evening.
welcome. Good evening, good evening. Happy New Year. And this is our first time together since 2021 has rolled around. So I am so happy to be here on tonight. I was kind of caught off guard because did y'all see the intro? My intro didn't play. I just was blank.
It did.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So just I'm having a little technical difficulty over here in my piece of the studio. So I want to say Happy New Year to all of those that have joined in with us on tonight. Mel, I saw you out there, girl, and I'm so glad to have you with us on this evening. And again, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year. I want to appreciate all of those that have supported. I want to say to Rhonda, to Jana, Tyrone, who has not made his arrival as of yet, the Galactic Supervisor. I want to say thank you for all that you all contributed to Yes You and Friends last year in 2020 because I couldn't have done it without you. I want to say thank you to all of the listeners that have supported. I even want to go back to today to my 2 o'clock group, those that put a hype train out there in Twitch. I want to say thank you for the biddies and thank you for the hype train. And I don't want to just automatically take for granted that you all have to do anything. I know that you're doing it because you love me, you love the podcast, and you're supporting us. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's get ready for a brand new year. It's about to be off the chains, y'all. 2021 is going to be all right. So since I missed you all the first couple of weeks here, for those that know that my mother has been in the hospital since Christmas Eve, and she's still there. And so we got love and prayers going her way even at this hour, and appreciate everybody that has lifted her up and everybody that's been supporting us through this journey. But I do want to kind of catch up. So I'm going to ask you all before we get going. There he is. All right, Tyrone. Tyrone. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you also.
I'm gonna ask you guys to just kind of catch me up. What's been happening? What's going on in you all's world?
Same for me over here. We had a very busy holiday season, and it was Christmas with kids. So, and we went back to school this week, and yeah, good times.
Did Santa give them everything they wanted?
No, he didn't, but he got them a lot of stuff. They were good.
I feel you on that. I feel you. Rhonda, what's going on down in the ark?
Same thing. Things are good. Same issues. You know, we're going to be dealing with those for a while, but that's okay because it had to happen, and we'll talk about that later. Same thing. COVID is still on the rise. Oh my God, it's still on the rise. We got to continue to pray. We've lost a lot of people. A really good friend of mine lost her husband yesterday from COVID.
Oh no.
Oh my God, y'all! It's bad, and you all know that. And I don't have to tell you that, but y'all, it's still bad, and we've still got to do what we're supposed to do. Let's just do our part.
Yes.
But the holidays were good. We're into New Year. We're into 2021. If you're here in 2021, you definitely have a purpose, and so I'm just excited. I'm excited because I'm walking therein.
Yes. Awesome. And our condolences to your friend as well. Yeah. Everything's big in Texas. What's going on down there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Working with some new equipment. That's why I was a little late. But everything's going in Texas. Just happy to be a new year. Got through the holidays. Everything's pretty normal. The cases are still on the rise. People still on social distancing. A lot of our schools here they were shut down for the holiday, and I believe they're extending that, especially here in Prosper, just a little bit. But other than that, just everything is as good as it can be.
Nice. I heard Texas has snow. Is that your way, or is it further down, or where's it at?
We did get a light snowing. It was supposed to be bigger. Like they were expecting this huge storm to come through Dallas. But just a few flurries, nothing major.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, good for you. I tell you, as we get started, we got our regulars in here. Mel, thank you for being with us. BTD Mom is in the house, and Michelle Browno, always in the house. We appreciate you and happy Sunday. Now, tonight, I want to kind of have a little chit chat. We know this has been an eventful week, to say the least. And we're going to really kind of focus in on what we can do and plan in the way of change. But before we get up to that point, I just want to digress back to the 6th. And I want to ask you all, each individually, tell me what was your personal takeaway from that dastardly day. It was just dastardly.
Wow.
That was a tough one. Because I remember sitting at my desk and just looking up at the monitor and seeing all that was going on. That was crazy. And if that didn't show America and people around the world that racism it's still alive and well. Like what I saw on the television was crazy. Like, but in the crazy thing, the first thing that came to my mind was, but I haven't heard the word thug.
Right.
All that was going on.
Right.
All that was going on. It was like, where's National Guard? Where's, but you never heard the word thug.
Right.
That was the first thing that popped in my mind. But what I saw on television was it was heartbreaking. Like seriously, heartbreaking to see just where we are in this world at this point in time.
When you say crazy, what was it that you felt was crazy?
I felt it was crazy. I mean, even starting with the Trump rally. I mean, the fact that the president came out and pretty much got it going. And then that went on to, the mobs of people going towards the Capitol. I mean, to see people breaking into windows of the Capitol building. Like the question is, what was your goal? Was your goal? Were you going to go in there and kill everybody who was part of the vote? Were you going to hold people hostage? You were going to get in and do what? We protest for Black Lives Matter. There's a purpose behind it. We need change. We need our politicians and the government and our president to, back us in making changes for people who are being treated unfairly and lives being lost. The president is the one out there getting this going, and it's these groups and mobs of people who are breaking into the Capitol to do what?
Well, they had zip ties and they were chanting "Hang Pence." Did you miss that? They had zip ties. They had zip ties in hand, and some of them were saying "Hang Pence." Now that's the truth. Did y'all see that, Jonna, Rhonda? Did y'all see that?
I did see that.
So to answer your question, to do what?
They were gonna hang Pence.
Right, because now remember, he basically said it the night before. Trump was on on TV, and he said, "I like Pence." He said, "But if things don't go the way we want them to go, I won't like him as much."
He sure did. That's
So
what
you
he
have
said.
to listen to the behind the scenes, what he's meaning and what he's actually saying to the people.
That's what he said.
He
and
said
they
that.
came in with zip ties and were chanting "Hang Pence." Yes, sir. So you missed that very vital piece of information.
I missed that because I was like, what is the goal? But just to see them, climbing walls and just doing the most, that's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. I was like, they call us monkeys and y'all climbing walls.
It was, as Mel said, it was a twilight zone. And King Coogee said they ain't calling nobody thugs except for dark complected folks. So there you have it. Now, Jonna, what was your takeaway?
Well, I started watching the coverage right when they began the process of, with each individual state, and it's like all of a sudden all hell broke loose. And it really pissed me off that they even made it that far. I don't think they breached the Capitol. I think that they had some help. I mean, come
Did
on
you
now.
see him? Did you see him
Right.
opening the gates? You didn't see the video
I
of them
did.
opening the gates?
Yeah.
I did. So for me, that's not a breach. You were invited.
And the man was
Uh,
standing back there like, come on in, come on in.
and I thought, just last summer when it was black people there and they had all those armed people in there spraying the folks and the rubber bullet, and they
At a
just walk
peaceful
in
protest. Yeah.
at a peaceful protest. It pissed me off. I thought, you have got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
I actually saw a photo today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they had Warnock, who actually won the seat in Georgia. Hey, how about that, Georgia? Georgia was listen.
Yes.
They are the bomb. So the black brother, the first from Georgia to be elected in, they showed him in 2017 in handcuffs in almost the same identical spot on the steps when they were protesting peacefully for the Affordable Care Act. And they arrested him and the officers in his face, and they got him, one behind him with his hands strapped and the other one in his face like he's giving him what for. Oh, so there you have it. There you have it. What was your emotional takeaway, Jonna?
I was angry, and when Tyrone said heartbreaking, that was it. I was just like, I know that you're not going to sit this squarely in our faces, how you treat one group of people and then just disregard that whole protocol for these fools. That just, and I don't know why I'm surprised, because come on now. I mean, we know.
Well, I heard the man
But-
that sat in Pelosi's office and stole her laptop got 1 year.
Well, and
That's
that's
a
not
year?
enough, but
I don't think they've taken him yet. I mean, they arrested him, but I don't know if they're giving him.
Yeah, they said that by the time they looked at whatever the charges were, the maximum for what he is being given is 1 year. That's what they're reporting on CNN and some of the other channels.
I'll
And
have
so
to
there's
look that one up.
there's an uproar as to whether or not 1 year is sufficient.
Yeah, I'll
So-
look that one up for sure.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I will stand corrected. But at the same time, that's the scuttlebutt that's out there, is that he's not going to get more than 1 year maximum.
Wow. Well, he went on TV and said he was not afraid.
Well, and they actually looked at his page before, and he said he came into this world in somebody else's blood, and he was willing to go out the same way.
Yeah.
And same thing with the girl that got shot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So, Rhonda, tell me your takeaway after observing the debacle of the insurrection.
Wow. That was my reaction, was sitting there like, wow, really? I was really like, wow. This part of me was like, oh my God, are they really doing this? But then this part of me was like, where's my popcorn?
Mm-hmm.
Let me watch this play out, because I understood that it had to happen. And I don't know if you all understand that, but I knew it had to happen. So I was like, and some of my friends, I text you all and said stuff like, Black people, stand down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this summer, the police was fighting the Black people.
Mm-hmm.
This summer, the Republicans were fighting the Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's watch this out as they turn against each other now. So this is not our fight. Let's watch them fight it out, do what they got to do, and build this bridge that we got to walk on over onto, because it is our season. And, you can think that if you know about that, you can think that it'd be okay, but at the same time, you're like, oh my God, are they really doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that they were doing and the stuff that they were saying. And then, like Jonna said, opening the gates and you seeing them walk in. You seeing them with t-shirts on talking about a war with the date on it. It was all planned. How you going to have a t-shirt got the date on it and all that? Because it was all a setup. It was all a plan. But two, yes, it was. Not the setup that they think it was, but it was a setup.
Yeah.
It was definitely a setup. And it had to happen because they had to have it on TV.
Yeah.
for people to see. And then even after they saw it on TV, people still making excuses for them.
They said it's Antifa
Still.
and BLM that was incognito
Yeah,
and went in
yeah.
to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Still that. And so now that they're arresting them and seeing that these people are actually Trump supporters, oh, my timeline has gotten quiet again.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah.
So, ladies, before I go on, I just want to say King Coogee is acknowledging all these beautiful hairdos up in the house. So y'all got it going on. I love it. I love it. We like your hair too, Tyrone. We like your
Thank
hair
you.
too.
Thank you, King Coogee. Thank
We're
you.
not gonna leave you out. We're not gonna leave you out. So this is where I really kind of want to go today. And that was the 2020 Civil War with their own kind. And this time we as Black folks watching with popcorn. I mean, I want lots of butter. I want extra salt. I listen, I want it all while I sit here and watch. Now, the corporations are actually backing out. There are numerous corporations, big time, that have been part of the super PAC funding for these Republicans who are now saying everybody that participated in the insurrection, they will no longer fund. And so they're pulling dollars out. Josh Hawley, who happens to be from my state, had his book deal drawn. Oh yeah, he's the Trump wannabe. I think he's the Trump wannabe. That's my takeaway.
Yeah.
I really feel like he wants to be the next Trump.
Yeah.
So you know, he had his book deal and he's like, he's not apologizing to anybody, he's not resigning, he's not this and that and the other, because you know, he's standing up for what he believes is the right thing with these fixed elections, which we all know were not fixed. So at the end of the day, this is kind of where I want to go with that. So this is the perfect time for Black people and white people that stand with Black people to really take this dichotomy of two worlds and two justice systems and leverage it and parlay it for our cause. Do you all agree or disagree with that?
I would agree with that.
So then my question to you all tonight and to my listeners out here in the chat, for those that want to talk, I know there's some other people that are not in chat, but you're definitely welcome to join in. How do we leverage this moment to correct the injustices? Because I think this is the perfect, I mean, at the end of the day, they cannot argue, even though some are trying, you know, even to the weak point of it was Antifa. It wasn't me. You didn't see me in the corner. It wasn't me. I don't care what you say. We got them on tape. We got them on video. They still hollering. It wasn't me. So, but we know that it was. So, Coogee said he's not expecting any change. Exposure, I see that, but are we? I don't know. I'm in 2021, Coogee. I don't know if I can just I don't know if I can just relax and settle with exposure. I need some change. And I think if there's a time to change, it is a perfect opportunity, because it really, you can't even argue with what we saw. That was some privilege smacking you in smack dab in the middle of your face, your forehead. Mel, we're not gonna let you go for a ride, baby. We're not gonna.
Not today, Mel.
Yeah. Happy New Year,
This
Mel.
is not our fight. This is not our fight.
BTG Mom, I signed a petition to get Holly out too. I did, and I wish he'd resign. But that joker doesn't plan on going anywhere, because this was the thing. They're planning on taking this, and this is the thing that I feel like people of color and our allies need to pay attention to. Everybody else knows how to leverage their moments and opportunities, and we have moments and opportunities that present themselves, and we do nothing with them, in my opinion. So
that is true. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to, because a lot of us have the same mindset as, I don't expect change to happen. But like you said, this would be the perfect time for African Americans as a people, our politicians, those who, you know, our allies, to really, push forward change. What we saw this week, if people who weren't with us, I feel like what we saw, we have more people who are with us now and in a position of wanting change and probably just feeling disrespected from the way their people acted, that this will be the perfect time for all of us to come together and really try to unify this country and really push for some change. I feel we have a lot more people in our corner now than we did before this week.
I think there are some people that were, as my history teacher said, mugwump. That's with your mug on one side of the fence and your wump on the other. I think there were some mugwump people that were kind of, I don't know about this privilege. I don't know about this, But I think there were some people that were mugwump that are completely on our side of the fence, because you just could not deny it. Unless you're just a Kool-Aid drinker. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you done drunk the Kool-Aid and you drunk in with wine wherein is excess of Trump, then we can't help you. But I do feel like there's some genuine people that were mugwump who really were not sure, because mind you, they're not being taught Black history. They don't know about Black existence, and probably many times may not be in environments to actually interact with Black people to know how Black people are actually treated for real in real life. But I think at the same time, for whatever questions they may have had, I think the other day just threw that joker up in their face where they can't get away from it. Now
they can't get away from it.
What?
Yeah, well, let me see. I don't even know where to start on this one. Now I can say one of our representatives, and you know me, I'll call him out by name, Tom Cotton, was as far up Trump's rump as he could go.
Mm-hmm.
And then he began to say, no, I'm not going to go and try to go against Biden. Biden won. He said it. Several of our representatives said it. And of course, they have turned on them tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
People on their page and said, you need to stand up for the president. You won't get our vote. You won't do this, blah, 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 blah. So they have totally turned against them. However, at the same time, I do believe we have more people with us than before. But I was on a conference call the other night, and they was talking about whiteness. So we're not necessarily saying white people, we're saying whiteness is what we need to deal with, because we got some Black people with that same mindset that the white people have. So we can't say white people, because all white people are not like that. So
absolutely.
Whiteness, because we're including the Black people who think white people's water tastes better anyway.
Right.
So those are the issues we've got to deal with, is this whiteness. And they even talked about the white evangelical churches, the predominantly white evangelical churches that were behind Trump and blah, blah, blah. We've got to get out of them. We've got to move. There's some more stuff that's to take place. This right here, we think that was something. Get ready. Buckle your seatbelts, because there's more to come. Coogee said exposure. I've been talking about Revelation for how long? I said, I'm not talking about the book of Revelation. I'm talking about revelation to come. Truth is revealed. It's not discovered. It's revealed. So there's a lot of revelation that's to come. And how is he going to do it? Open book season. That's what open book. And it's going to be on camera, because of the people that go and say, it wasn't me. Throw a rock and hide their hands. But now it's right there on TV. Got their face right there on the camera. They still say it's not me, but it's not doing any good, because, hey, what's that? Tick, click. You on candy camera. That's y'all might
right.
Candy camera. The one from Arkansas. He said, but they pushed me in. I was trying to find a bathroom, but you in her desk with your feet up on it. You sitting in her chair with your feet up on the desk. No, you can't lie your way out of this one.
Yeah.
This is exposure. This is revelation. This is cameras. Oh my God, these cell phones with these cameras probably was their worst nightmare. But then the cameras within the building, you see how good those cameras were, that they can go down on you. Did you see the woman that was praying?
I saw her on the floor.
The Black woman?
Yes. You see the camera had her so good where you could hear what she was praying?
Mm-hmm.
You see the technology in that building?
But yet, and still, the FBI said they needed assistance trying to identify people.
Right.
Well, now we all know what that was.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I know, but I'm saying y'all get ready, buckle your seatbelts, because we talking about Revelation. Oh my God! But it's good. Get you some popcorn. Get you some popcorn. Get you some Stella.
So come on, Stella and your fella. Come on, Jonna. What was your takeaway? Did I already do you?
You did.
Oh,
But
okay.
I would say again, as Rhonda said, when I was watching on Wednesday or whatever day it happened, I kept thinking, Rhonda said there was gonna be some some stuff. I mean, she wrote through my head a few times, and I thought, oh, okay, well, here we are. This is it.
So Coogi threw out there, if we're going to talk about it, what is it that the people want? Now, I think for my purposes, I'm really even kind of, hey, Nancy, good to have you tonight. I'm really kind of still at the point of saying, I want to just start with the foundation before I start saying I want A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And what's my foundation? Acknowledge that there are two distinct, different systems, because they will not admit that what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. We just don't want to acknowledge that for some reason. So when I'm talking about galvanizing right now, I'm basically saying galvanize behind that truth and acknowledgement, because if they won't acknowledge it, we can't do anything to move forward. To fix a problem, you got to first admit you got a problem. So that's my personal opinion. I'll let you all throw in there whatever your sentiment is in response to Coogi's question and comment.
I think it's going to be a while before we get to a point of being able to say what the people want. But like you say, acknowledging that there is a serious issue out there. A lot of people get in that mindset, we've come so far, this, that, and the other. But no, there's still a serious issue with our government and so many other institutions here in the States that we have to acknowledge that there's a serious divide, and people are still being treated different. They're still being disrespected. And until that's acknowledged, like you said, we can't move forward, because it's almost like saying, this is what I want. But you're not addressing and acknowledging that there's been an issue for a long time. And there's been a lot of people who've played into that.
And there are a lot of people that really don't believe that that's a legitimate issue. There's that constant, oh, you want to play the race card, but that's not real. But it's real. And we definitely, Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day it was the perfect situation to show the two different worlds. I mean, even the newscasters and everybody's like, now come on.
Yeah, like what we saw on TV, like I said, it literally showed the difference in people doing, us as a people not even doing that much. Like they broke into a federal building, like breaking through windows, got inside, acted a fool, climbing walls, all sorts of stuff. We can gather and just walk past the building within the confinements of where we're supposed to walk past the building. And the National Guard and the police and the FBI and everybody's going to be everywhere. They read it with their zip ties. They out there before we get out there.
Right.
And clearly this is not all white, but majority. They get out there and act a plumb fool, and it's hours before anybody get out there. Like the building was literally attacked. They're breaking in this building.
But if there's a verdict coming, we'll board up the city 2 or 3 days before.
Right.
What are we doing here? And let me ask you, is this really about Trump, or is it about the change that is coming and they're not wanting to give it up? That's the way of life for so long. And it is coming to a close, and it is, not to say that they shouldn't want to, but it's going to be difficult to give that privilege up and sit amongst everybody else as an equal.
Right.
But the scary part is you see how Trump acts while he's in office and the power that he has amongst people. Can you imagine what's going to happen on the 20th? and after that, when he can say whatever he want to say and still has a base that feel that he was done wrong and the country is at stake and we got to make America great again, and him still pushing this narrative, I can just imagine what's going to come once he's out of office.
See, that's why I wanted them to do the Amendment 25, because if they did that, he could not run in 2024. You know, so that's what they need to do, something to him to prevent him from ever being able to run again.
But I think they're trying to position Holly and some of these other youngsters. I think that's why you see even that brother just got sworn in and then had to resign because they had his face all over the place from, what was it, South Carolina, West Virginia, wherever he came from. I was like, this brother was just downright dense. And so, but I think they're running those young people with the idea of them already having been groomed to take on this attitude and behavior. And then, okay, take Trump out of there. We got somebody else to put it in his place. Take Mitch McConnell out of there. We got somebody else to put in his place. Take Lindsey Graham out of there. We got somebody else to put in his place. Young people. And I don't necessarily see that kind of young navigation going on the other side of the fence.
No.
So, I mean, I'm saying that to say,
if that's their tactic, if the Republicans' tactic is to replace a Trump type person with someone younger, it's not going to work in their favor.
Right.
That's not going to work in their favor. There's going to have to come a point where all the antics and the foolishness and the lies and the craziness that went along with Trump is going to have to come to an end. The Republicans lost this election because the Republicans lost this election, and they backed themselves behind a fool. And if they're looking to keep that momentum going, it is not going to work in their favor.
Well, I want to go back to Jonna's point and to take issue with that. I think if I really am honest about everything that we see going on right now, the thing that we see going on right now is that you have white privilege that sees privilege slipping away and they don't want to give it up. And that's why I think there were people that really didn't want Trump, but Trump, what he represents in holding on to that privilege, that made them vote in that direction. So I quoted somebody earlier today. I was listening to a interview. And so the man said, not only is white supremacy a threat to democracy, true democracy is a threat to white supremacy. And I'm going to say that again. Not only is white supremacy a threat to democracy, true democracy is a threat to white supremacy. And so I feel like that's really the issue that's at hand here, is that it's really about losing that supremacy / privilege. And so that's what they're fighting for. So at the end of the day, there may be people that say, okay, Black Lives Matter, we acknowledge that. And I saw BTD mom said, what happened to Blue Lives Matter? Because, honey, Blue Lives didn't matter, not one bit.
Not one bit.
So, you know, we know that didn't mean anything. And then I was appalled by this. The man was ranting and raving in these police officers' faces, and the police officer was standing at attention, staring straight ahead, like he was in control. And I looked at that, I said, so is he their sergeant? Is he there? What is it that has them? Now, you know, if that had been a black man all up in their face, screaming and hollering, that would not have stood. But
he
this man
got a whole sentence out.
I'm telling you, this man is literally screaming at these police officers, and they're standing at attention, looking dead ahead, like they absolutely had no power, no authority with this man. So, you know, at the end of the day, I said it ain't about blue lives. It is about that sense of feeling we own this house, we own this country, we own everything in here, and anybody and anything that wants to challenge that and to challenge white supremacy, then that's what we have an issue with. And that's really what we're fighting, in my opinion. And so when you get to that level of mentality, when you start talking about what's going to happen in 2024, ain't nobody going to replace Trump because they're going to remember. Listen, for everybody that's fearful that they're going to lose their privilege / supremacy, they're going to come out and vote for whoever it is.
I agree. I agree.
It could be Betty Boop. It could be Boop Poop Poop Toot Toot Toot. They gonna come out and vote for him.
Girl, all I can
Because-
tell you is the season of brown folks is here.
I agree.
The season for women is here. So they
I
can do
agree.
everything they want to do. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay, but now, Rhonda, I'm gonna take you to task on that, because, like I said to somebody the other day that wanted to kind of get with me about the Lord told me to pray. I said, listen, sometimes you need to get up praying and put some feet to them prayers. I have a concern that people
Okay.
have that idea. I hear Rhonda said, and everybody else said, and the preacher said, and the prophet said, and everybody else said, and they sit down and do nothing. It's not gonna just rain. It's not gonna just rain down, in my opinion, out of the sky. So that's what I'm saying. Even in this moment, and this to me is critical. If we don't leverage, we've had such a perfect opportunity laid out in front of us, and if we don't leverage it because we're waiting for something sweet pie in the sky by and by, and black folk really get caught up in that and do diddly squat nothing, and then when the moment has moved and the cloud is gone, then they want to come back and say, well, we should have done. It's too late, my opinion.
Okay, well, answer me this. Who gets credit? I don't like to say the word credit for the pandemic that put everybody on the same wavelength. There was, it don't care if you were black, don't care if you was white, don't care if you was poor, don't care if you was rich. Everybody's on the same playing field, same level.
Not really. I'm gonna disagree with that. We everybody has the same as far as potential of getting it. But white folks have better health care.
That's not what my question was. I know
who gets the credit?
Yeah.
Who gets the credit?
They got better insurance and stuff, but it's still the same.
It's not the same because
everybody.
But listen, black folks won't even take, because we've already been used as guinea pigs down through the years. Black folks won't even take the vaccine when the vaccine comes because we scared they're gonna kill us. So we're still not on the same plane.
It's the same plane, whether we all will do the same thing. It's still COVID.
I agree.
So we're on
but
the
who
same
is
plane.
disproportionately dying from COVID?
Yeah, well, because they won't take the test, or they won't go and get the vaccine or whatever. But we've all got to get to the same playing field. That's the main thing, get to the same playing field. And that's where we are.
Okay, I'm gonna step back and let the others talk, because we're disproportionate. We're still. She said, "Riddle me this."
I do feel we're slightly disproportionate, but
slightly
as black people,
slightly disproportionate.
Slightly, but I feel we play a part in that as well.
Oh, here we go.
I only say we play a part in it because sometimes we have a mindset. Our mindset works against us to a certain extent. Like right now, we're at a point where, we fought and we voted and we did all this type of stuff to get people in office and this, that, and the other. And then some black people, minorities, will sit back and say, I've done my part, versus continuing that fight, because that mindset is, we got these people in office. Now they're supposed to do everything we need them to do without us putting some work in as well. When we look at the COVID vaccine, a lot of people, your beliefs on the, getting a test, or, when the vaccine comes around, taking the vaccine, that works against us when we have that mindset of, I don't need to take a test, or I'm not taking the vaccine because I'm going to wake up with 3 arms in the morning. We put ourselves at a disadvantage sometimes because our mindset sometimes needs to be changed.
I agree, but this is what I do want to say in defense of, because on my morning show, I take a poll almost on a daily, and on the daily they tell me we ain't taking it. So, but this is what I do want to say in defense of that, like voter suppression.
Mhm.
Basically, they put all kind of obstacles and things to get you in that mindset. That's exactly what has happened with the health situation, and particularly when you talk about the vaccine, because we know we've been used as guinea pigs. We know that we've been given inferior types of medications. We know that we've had all kind of problems in the healthcare center that render us sick, dead, and worse, and so it's like we've already been fed that, the same as voter suppression. I feel like by doing those things to Black Americans and those that don't have money, because all of it isn't just about color, all of it revolves around money.
Correct.
So when you deal with those that don't have and you keep being preyed upon like that, then they've already got a distrust. And I hear what you're saying. We have a mindset, but we didn't just come up with the mindset and all of a sudden come up with the conspiracy theory. This is stuff that they've actually done. So then to me, it becomes the equivalent of voter suppression when I make somebody feel like if I vote, it ain't gonna make a difference. If I, whatever obstacle they put out there, we step back and say, I can't do anything with that, so I just am not gonna respond at all. They've basically done the same thing with this daggum vaccine. So when people that need the vaccine don't take the vaccine, they gonna wake up dead. Monica said,
and part of this mindset, the same way, even though
no. Wait. When you say mindset, what are you saying, sweetheart? Because mindset and having a seed sown, to me, is like, I'm just trying to be clear that it's not like I just woke up with this mindset, I ain't gonna take it. Why am I not?
No, I'm not taking away from experience that gives you an opinion on something. But there comes a point where we have to change that opinion. Just like with voting, a lot of us, including myself, was like, I'm not gonna vote. My vote's not gonna count. But if I kept that mindset, would we have any change, or did I have to make a change and say, you know what, Tyrone, you got to get out there and vote? Because
that came from that mindset.
Vote, even though I have experience,
go ahead.
Even though I have experience that will make me say my vote is not going to count. I'm just one person.
But that mindset came from.
But there had to come a point where I had to change my mindset to.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But so this is the thing. Okay, so let's go over. I'm kind of flip flopping here because I just tell it like a TIZ-tis. I just tell it like a TIZ-tis. So this is gonna be the thing when everybody else has got the vaccine and they living. Then you're gonna have tons of Black folk dead because they wouldn't take the vaccine. So then was that part of the plan from the beginning? If I can, just like voter suppression, if I can get them so oppressed in their mindset about taking a vaccine and then say, oh, but we offered it to them, but they didn't want to take it. Now they did. Well, why did we not want to take it? Because y'all played with us before. But at the end of the day, are we playing into the master plan that at the end of the day, we going to wake up dead because nobody took the vaccine?
That's what it sounds like.
Right. So I'm still confused with your question. So your question is asking us what are we going to do?
Well, originally, the original question that I put out here, and we kind of took a few twists and turns because now to Cool G's question, he was basically saying, yeah, so what are we going to do? Well, even if you go get the vaccine and you start having problems, you can even go to the hospital to get it checked out. Why put myself through types of problems? I hear you. So at the end of the day, my point here is really, how are we going to leverage this moment? That's my real question, because I feel like we've been given the perfect, served up on a silver platter. We've been given the perfect storm to go out and leverage. So I'm saying, how are we going to leverage? Now, out of that, we've popped up and stumbled upon some other issues. My issue with your comment was a matter that we all equal plane. And I'm saying we ain't equal plane. We still uneven territory. Because we dying at a higher proportion, we won't take the vaccine, and we don't have the money and the health care and da-da-da-da-da. So it from my position, it's still not equal playing field, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, come on, talk to me, girl. Come on, lay it on me. Lay it on me.
It won't do any good. It won't do any good.
And that is a perfect example of voter suppression.
Girl, you better check my records on it, right? I vote for the school board. I vote for
Oh no! I'm talking about when you feel like me it putting some input here ain't gonna make no difference, so I just ain't gonna say nothing. That's what I'm saying. Johnny, you awful quiet over there, girl. What you thinking?
I'm just listening. I'm and kind of tickled, but I'm just listening. I can't say that I feel like we're at a level playing at all. I do think we are suffering disproportionately with COVID. I really do.
Yeah.
And the mindset with the vaccine troubles me. Some of the things I hear my people saying, I'm like, and I understand, really, I do understand that reluctance because, and for me personally, it doesn't even have to do with the history we have with, the medical field. This was a quick work. And it's not had that time to be studied and watched, and so that's going to make it a little bit difficult to trust it. However, we
can quick but a stimulus check.
What'd you say? Anyway, we have to.
Wow, but I need to get something clear. I did not say that we were on the plan with the healthcare with the COVID. I said COVID came at the plan to where it did not discriminate.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
So let's get that straight. I didn't say that we were all on the plan, same field, because I do understand some people, the healthcare and blah, blah, blah. I said COVID came in and it was on the same playing field because it attacked everybody.
Okay.
Regardless of your age, regardless of your sex, regardless of your financial status, regardless of your black and white, your race, Baptist, Church of God in Christ. That's what I said.
Okay, I'm with you there.
To a whole nother level.
I'm with you there. Well, I needed clarification on the same playing field. When we say same playing field, that's where I needed clarification on, because I'm like, otherwise no. Yeah. But and so then to your question, who are we going to give credit to for putting it on an equal level field? I'm going to assume that you're pushing for the movement that God brought something that
I'm just asking a question
that leveled everybody and put us all on the same field. So that's where I'm gonna go with that everybody gets impacted equally by COVID-19, as far as there is no discrimination. And I'll definitely agree with that to that extent. So we do not have never had the same medical care. Exactly, James JJ. And all of this feeds into the issues that need to be addressed. So that's why I'm saying, okay, now that goes back to Coogee, who said, what are we going to say the issue is that we're going to attack? And I'm saying before we can even get to that, because that is an issue, what you just said, James JJ. If we don't have the same medical care, that needs to be addressed. If we don't have the same blah, 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 boom, 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 all of that needs to be addressed. All I'm saying is, I feel like we've been given right now in this moment of time, the perfect opportunity to leverage making the world, especially the United States, acknowledge that we, from what we saw the other day, see two complete systems, one for brown and black and one for white. And that's where I'm saying, let's start right there in getting the world to acknowledge, Houston, there is a problem. Because up to this point, everybody has not been willing to acknowledge that. And I think we need to get it acknowledged. And I think we need to leverage this moment to do it. That's what I'm saying. And I'll shut up and let you guys say. Jonna, what are you thinking? I see your eyes darting.
Well, how? What are your thoughts on how? Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the
question. To get them to, I mean, I did hear in Biden's speech, and not saying that this is the end all, because it absolutely is not, but he did acknowledge that if it were black people, this would have ended in a totally different way. But to get people to acknowledge. I mean, they're still arguing it. They're still, that night I turned on Fox News just to see what they were saying. And they were still will not acknowledge the fact, first of all, that it even happened. And secondly, that there's a difference between the way the two races have been, the two races would be treated in such a situation. So I don't know. This is almost, like you said, months and months back, a heart issue to get people to say, I am sick. You can't. The worst patient is the one who does not know that they are sick.
Right.
How do you get them to say, I am sick and I need help? I don't know. That's a tall order.
Yeah. And Aguna, I want to acknowledge you. I said brown, black, and white, and you're and I heard Jonna say the two races. The whole dynamic is all colors that are oppressed. So by all means, I appreciate you bringing in the acknowledgement that there's more than two races. When I say brown, black, I'm not just talking about black people. When I say brown, I'm talking about all shades of anything that's not white when I say it. So, but thank you for that. Bringing that awareness, because definitely and again, I'm gonna go back to the point, at some point, it's not even about the color of the skin, it's really about economics and who's got money and who doesn't have money, because you got white folks that are in just as dire straits and just as toe up as everybody else is, because they're poor. So there you go. Oh, that's cool. I appreciate you. So I hear you, Jonna. Tyrone, what, how are we going to leverage this? Because I just feel like we do not need to let this moment get away from us. This is a perfect storm and a perfect moment, in my opinion.
And I would say the same. And I would say the best way that we can leverage this is really, as a people, really, putting our feet out there and, really getting involved with the issues and the causes and anything that will benefit us moving forward as a people. We have worked hard in all these elections. We did things that people haven't been able to do for decades, turning states, blue and getting people into office. We're in a good place right now as a community. And with that show that we saw this week, I feel like we have even more people on our side that, see that there's a difference. It hasn't. A lot of people have acknowledged that if it was blacks, if it was Muslims, if it was anybody other than whites, it would be a sad day in America. So I feel we're in a good place right now where we really need to. This is our time to really get out there and, even at the local level, connect with our politicians, when there needs to be change and things that need to be changed. We're in the perfect place right now to really get these things moving and rolling. We're in control of, major parts of, the political system and the houses. And we just gotta keep it going. We can't get comfortable now because we feel like we've gotten to a place. We're just starting and we're just beginning. And this is the perfect time for us to really get out there and keep it going.
And I think you bring up, thank you, Aguna Badger. It wasn't just, we addressed that earlier on, but absolutely was not just white skinned folks at that rally. And you are absolutely correct. And I think Rhonda touched on that earlier. And I think that, Tyrone, you bring up a good point. They got elected in office. Now we got to deal with them while they're in office. And we need to make our voices known and heard during this whole entire process. 2 years from now, there's going to be another election. 4 years from now, it's going to be another election. We can't wait till election time and then jump up and try to do everything like that's going to make a difference, because you've got to be able to show up at the meetings, participate, have your voices heard, make your phone calls, write emails, whatever the case may be. And it needs to start now. And we need to start grooming folks for the next phase. And it's not just politics, but I'm going to stay on the politics, since that what you were kind of sharing. We got them in office. Now that they're in there, how many of us are just going to kick back and rest on our laurels and say, okay, we got them in there, but who's going to hold them to task? Who's going to follow up? Who's going to challenge their decisions and their voting records and all of that? Who's going to do that? Most people are going to kick back and do nothing. And then I want to come here. Stacey Abrams almost single-handedly secured a massive vote in Georgia. Why can't we see that in all the states?
Right. I mean, oh, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, why can't we see that in all the states? But see, we'll applaud Stacey Abrams. Oh man, she went out there and got Georgia. She went out there and got Georgia. But you ain't gonna do diddly squat in your state.
You're right, and she literally laid the framework for what every state should be doing, and we all need to push that same process and policy that she started in Georgia to get things in a much better place. Not saying it's perfect, but a much better place that all states need to adopt and get going.
Yeah. Her organization that she formulated, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I definitely said after I saw what she did with Georgia, I want to go back and read it and see, can we replicate it in Missouri? Because listen, Josh needs to go. He needs to be gone. Blunt needs to go. He needs to be, I mean, listen, I can go right on down the list. We got a whole bunch of folk need to be out the door. And so instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, if she had that much success, I say, let's start studying what she did, tweak it. You know how we talk about it? The 3 pillars. We got it has to be transparent. Then we got to investigate it. And then we got to adapt it, make that thing agile. But at the end of the day, get up and do something, because we're going to be right here again 2 years from now, 4 years from now. And we're going to be looking crazy because we already know that folks are woke that don't want to lose privilege. Then we're going to have, and this is the thing too, y'all, with Trump and all those other people suppressing the vote of the Republicans, it was still a tight race. Now listen, they had Giuliani, they had all of them other crazy people out there talking about don't vote to the white Republicans and the Republicans at large, and they still had a close call. So I fully believe that they did suppress some of that Republican vote. So if the Republican vote was suppressed, for those that were saying, oh, they stole this, they stole the election and it's rigged and da. And then for those that listened to the ones that were telling them don't vote, and it was still that close, y'all come on here.
Yeah.
So again, I just feel like we need to be leveraging. I think we need to be putting something in motion versus just kicking back and chilling. So, Johnny, tell me something.
Were you talking to me?
Yes.
Working in and up there. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Where are you at? And then I'm gonna go back to Rhonda because we might have to do warfare again. No, I'm just playing, Rhonda. I'm just Rhonda, your face. Your face.
Yeah, and it means exactly that. Yeah.
Okay. Fix your face, Rhonda.
I'm looking at Jonna.
Oh, okay.
Are you looking at me? Oh, am I supposed to be commenting? Oh,
Yeah, you're supposed to be commenting.
What was the question? I'm sorry. I'm having some audio issues here.
You almost made me spit this water out. Okay, Aguna Badger said, for the people that don't know, you're half Cherokee and Irish ancestry. Awesome. And I think that you, and then I'm gonna go back up. You're only asking because now the poor white skinned folks are getting worried because of the labeling. Folks aren't going into detail who all are bunched into what. I got you. And I respect that, because again, we do have to acknowledge and cannot disregard that some of the trauma is spilling over to everybody, and probably that common denominator there is economics. So we cannot forget and leave out the poor white skin. We cannot leave out anybody of the oppressed groups. So thank you so much. Thank you.
We can't, but most of them people out there were the poor whites. Most of them didn't have teeth.
To the supervisor.
I just heard her cracking
I
up in
know,
the back.
supervisor.
But now, there were some toothless moments. I'm just saying, I have to ride with Tyrone on this. I was like, if y'all gonna storm the Capitol, it should have been about health and dental, not this.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
God.
I'm with you, Tyrone. It should have. I would have been out there with them on some dental care. Cause damn.
Right. And they were so willing to smile. Like, sorry.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, Tyrone. Okay, y'all call Tyrone. Call Tyrone. Calling.
Now,
But you can't use
normally
my phone.
Tyrone would say, "Excuse us," but we don't have anything against you too. Listen,
And nothing against no, but I'm just saying it was true.
Come on, Ronnie. Come on and fill in the blank. You know how he does. Nothing against our two little viewers.
We love all of our viewers, but let's call a spade a spade. And when you saw people full on smile, you see their tonsils. So I mean, it was the poor whites out there with the flags climbing walls.
Tyrone, say supervisor, you gonna have to take him out of the feed. Oh Jesus. Okay, so now that we have our dental condition addressed, Johnny, can you talk? Can you just giggle?
No.
Rhonda, say something. Salvage this show.
I don't
This
know.
show.
I have 2 places to go, and I'm not sure which place to go.
Go somewhere. Other than down the tonsils.
Right. What was I gonna say? Was it truth? Anyway, we cannot get comfortable is one thing that I can definitely say. And you all have already been on the politics side, the political side, and blah 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 stuff we need to do, because there's still a lot to be done, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
At the same time, do not forget the educational side.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of our issues is because we're not educated.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Or we've been educated on the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of our disproportionate part of this, because for so long we've been taught certain things. We've been taught, and like you said, I'm not talking about white people, I'm talking about whiteness.
Uh-huh.
We've been taught for so long that they were better. We've been taught so long that we were beneath. We've been taught so this and that. And we've got to teach our people and our kids, well, everybody, not just the kids, because there's adults like that too, that is not the case, that we are better and that we deserve more. We just need to be educated, and then we need to know that, hey, I too can do that. I too can be better. Yeah. The big problem is finance. You talked about economics. That is a huge issue. Yeah. But we've got to change our mindset, and our mindset is because of stuff that we've been trained and taught through the years.
Yes.
And boy, I can go a long way with that if we got into the church, and I'm not going to do that because the church have taught us this for years. And you know what? It was wrong.
Exactly.
And so now we got to refocus our whole minds so that we can get to where the question was saying we've got to be on the same. How do we get a leverage?
Yes.
We need a leverage in our minds.
Yes.
We need to bring ourselves up. If you always think that you are beneath, you're going to be beneath. Mm-hmm. But once you realize, oh, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Once you be like the prodigal son and wake up and realize, oh, Lord, the servants they live better than I.
Yes.
Once you realize that and you walk on, hey, you leverage yourself. Don't be waiting on anybody else to leverage you. You leverage yourself. So we got to deal with it in the politics. We got to deal with it in education, because like you said, now is the time. Mm-hmm. Now is the time to get on leverage, get on playing field, get up there. Let's not wait on anybody to do it for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How many times are we gonna step up and do it for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
and work on each other. Hey, let's just do it. Let's
Yes.
just do it. Let's raise each other up. Let's quit doing the crawdad and we see somebody and we want to pull them back down.
Yeah.
It's
And
time
I
out
want
for
to,
that.
yeah,
ahead, I'm
I agree.
sorry.
No. I was going to say, because I think you're speaking to Aguna Badger, and I appreciate you. She said she was hoping that this was not going to have stigma related. Put that up for me, please. Said, guess some folks haven't grown or researched into the struggles of others. And I think that earlier she was addressing, I don't know if Aguna Badger is male or female, so I don't want to put a gender to it. But it took 5 years of being on disability to get dental insurance. And so definitely not laughing or making fun of that kind of scenario. And that's real stuff. I don't have any insurance. So, I totally identify with situations. Well, but it could be, if that were my situation, that it is a challenge for people. Whatever your situation is, whatever it is that impacts you, male, thank you. And so again, apologies going out, because it really wasn't a matter of wanting to create and laugh at or engage in a stigma per se. So apologies, and I appreciate you for putting your feelings out there. Appreciate it, and definitely could socialized medicine be a solution? I think there are a lot of things that we need to look at. Mountain Dew, I didn't know about Mountain Dew mouth till and I don't know anything about Mountain Dew mouth, so I'm not familiar with what that means. So I must be out of
Tyrone.
I don't know what that means. So I have books in hand right now to distribute to the young folks, and put that gun away, Mel. Okay, so we got a little bit of everything going on. So at the end of the day, I think that my point here, and I think you guys have thrown out some different topics and areas that need to be addressed. At the end of the day, it's kind of like, how do we again take all of these different items, take all of these different areas, and begin to say, oh, okay, I got you. See, that's a new one on me, because I didn't know that. I had no clue on that. So I learned something tonight. I appreciate it. I am familiar with meth teeth, but I wasn't familiar with Mountain Dew. So at the end of the day, it's like, what are y'all doing? I'm trying to carry on this conversation. Y'all just out there. So anyway, and I really didn't, Aguna, I didn't know. I never heard that. So that's new for me. Tyrone is, y'all don't call Tyrone. Don't call Tyrone. And you can't use my phone. You just can't. So at the end of the day, though, in a serious manner, it's like, we've got to take all of these different areas that we're confronted with and say, how can we really galvanize and leverage this moment? And that's really more so where I wanted us to put on people's minds in our conversation today. We can't just chill and get comfortable and relax and feel like everything's just going to fall into place. And that's really where I was trying to go with that particular concept. So I'm gonna go back to Jonna, Rhonda. I'm gonna ask you guys, really give me some input, and we'll do our recap and wrap up here, because I think we're pretty much at the time. So yes, SK, we must work for justice for everybody. And that is absolutely correct. And I think we're going to have to start networking and coming together. And I think we need to reach across all the aisles, because again, I feel like this was the perfect storm to reach out to everybody to be able to address coming together. Once we're able to acknowledge this exists, how are we going to change it? I think it's only going to be changed by us coming together. So I've said my little piece, and I'm gonna let you all say what's in your heart, and go ahead and share.
I have a question, and I don't understand it. I don't know if you all do, or somebody can tell, because we're talking about the low income, especially we're talking about the low income white people, and they're talking about the teeth. I'm concerned. I don't understand why they support Trump or the Republican Party who don't have any of their interests at hand. I mean, they're steady taken away from them. They live in the I know there's some nice trailer parks, but they live in the worst trailer parks. Like they said, their teeth, their health, and everything is bad. But they will stand up for Trump, and I don't understand that.
Jonna, did you want to say something on that?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to speak.
Listening.
I did a teaching in O Cubed a few months back, and that was The Color of Money and The Color of, what was the other one? The Color of Law. And both of them addressed the reality that at one point for the upper 2%, and I saw somebody put something in regarding that earlier, that upper 1%, 2%, and we're talking purely economics there. They considered, and they're the ones that came up with the term poor white trash. That wasn't somebody else. That they came up with poor white trash because they're differentiating money versus those that don't have. So poor white trash was treated pretty much like Black people until they needed the numbers of poor white people to help them accomplish their goal. At which point, with the help of the KKK and all the other white supremacist groups, who tend to be people that are very minimally educated and poor, that gave them a sense of status. And so when the KKK, you and your family have a house, the KKK comes to your house, burns a cross, kills your mama, your daddy, whatever, sends the kids off, whatever, and then possess your house. This poor white individual that had nothing now has your house, and they now have status over Black people. And that is historical. That's not just a made up. So when you get down to it, when you start dealing with white supremacy and racist attitudes, even when it's not in their best interest, if it allows them to not be the low man on the totem pole, the low woman on the totem pole, if they can have some kind of something over somebody. And I'm gonna tell you what, now I'm gonna turn this corner and hold on to your weave, hold on to your wig, Tyrone. I have the same issue with Black men and Black females, because there's still that oppressive sense of wanting to hold women at the lowest part of the totem pole and not allowing Black women to rise. And that's within our own culture. So it's something about, if I'm not the one that's on the very bottom, I will, in some instances, go ahead and approve of things that really are not in my best interest. But if it lets me stay one step higher than somebody else, I'm gonna take that too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that is historically the truth about why poor white people who are economically depressed and oppressed, side in with their oppressor, because usually the oppressor, just because their skin is white, will give them 1 inch higher than everybody else that they wouldn't even get then. I can't tell you how many times poor white people were angry at poor Black people that owned their own land and had their own businesses. So if you got somebody's gonna come into your people, come into the Black community and kill them all and burn them out and this and that other, and then take it over and have it given to you. Now you got land, now you got a house, now you got a business. They gonna take that.
Wow. And I was asking that because I know, we wonder how they got there, but then I saw where Clarence Thomas' wife is the one that she sponsored 30 bus loads of people to go there.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's how you would wonder how did the ones that didn't have money or whatever get there. She sponsored 30 bus loads.
We have a local thing going on here because I'm just gonna leave that alone because I could just all kind of stuff is coming to my heart and mind. But we had a local man here that and some of you may have seen it on a friend of mine's. He's a very dominant, prominent musician here in Kansas City, and there is an owner of a McDonald's up north that is well-to-do, but he always wants music done and he hires all Black people. And so when he came back showing all these pictures and all of this and that and the other, then the musicians here locally are quite upset with him because he's basically been using them for all of his productions to get his leg up. But at the same time, here you are basically with racist conversation and everything else on your page. And so now people see you for who you are, and the musicians are agitated. So at this point, it's kind of like, okay, it's not isolated. So you have people that will interact with people of color. You have people that will do all of these things, but they don't care nothing about people of color. I hear you. I saw Michelle, and thank you for putting that up. And I hear that there's that real issue of we still need to deal with what specifically impacts us as Black Americans who typically end up at the very bottom rung of the totem pole. And when we go to the All Lives Matter versus the Black Lives Matter, then it dilutes. So I hear you, Michelle. I got you. Because when you get down to it, there are certain areas that exclusively seem to impact people of color. But then by the time you throw everybody else on the bandwagon, then we still end up not being addressed and talked about.
Correct. Because I actually had a debate earlier in the week where someone was saying, would it be racist if white people did a White Lives Matter, or Indian Lives Matter, or Hispanic Lives Matter? And long time ago, I was slightly against the Black Lives Matter because I felt it kind of separated us. But through years of experience and things that have happened in this world over time, I feel the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter is really important because we're the ones being attacked. And we need to stand. We're at a point in life where we have to stand up and be able to say, I'm a person that's being disrespected, that's being killed like I'm nobody, and my life matters too. So I would be offended if there was like a White Lives Matter or this, that, and the other, where of groups of people who they have the privilege and the dominant race. So I feel it's the whole Black Lives Matter thing is really important for us, and we should really stand behind it.
Okay, I appreciate that, John. I saw you giving some affirmation there.
Well, yes, I don't think it's like Black lives don't matter any more than any other. It's Black Lives Matter too.
Awesome.
And anybody who doesn't see that, it's because you don't want to. Now, that's just the end of that. You do not want to deal with it. And so you start all this hoopla about other stuff that, that's not on the table. It's just not. And because the truth of the matter is Black lives haven't mattered. Mm-hmm. They just haven't. Okay. And, you can't really compare that, to dental insurance. Come on now. It's just, that's not the same thing at all.
Got you. Rhonda?
Wow, same thing. I mean, I don't know. And you've heard it. Everybody read it before. They said if somebody's house is burning on the same block and the fire department comes, do you want to say all houses matter? No, you want to say the one that is burning down is the one that matter. And and now the Black people, especially the Black men, the Black women is getting shot in her house while she's asleep, are the ones that's been shot down. So that's why Black lives matter. We love everybody, but right now, Black lives matter. Black lives are the ones being killed for no reason. And I mean, if Wednesday or whatever wasn't enough evident while everybody sat there and watched, and there were several commentators, I'm not even sure what the broadcast I was listening, but they was like, oh my God, look at this. This is what would have never happened if it was a Black Lives movement. So I did hear that.
I know that was heavy on CNN.
Yeah.
They really pointed out, like, if these were
Right.
black people or Muslims,
Yeah.
or
Right.
Hispanic, oh, this would be a different story.
Yeah. So we're just going to continue to pray that everybody begin to see that. Like Jonna said, if you don't see it, it's because you don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying no lives matter. We're just saying Black lives matter too.
Gotcha.
We want to see it happen.
Yes.
Just like with the woman who was shot. You know, people out there saying, you know, say her name, say her name.
Yeah.
We're not saying that a life was lost and that's not a serious issue and the family grieves and this, that, and the other, but it's not the same. This woman put hate out on her Twitter prior to coming to DC, and she broke into the Capitol, tried to sneak into a room, and she was shot. She was willing to risk her life for what she believed in. So I'm not going to sit back and say her name and try and compare it to like a Breonna Taylor, where this woman was in her home and police shot her in her home, doing nothing in her home. We can't compare the same. We're not saying that losing a life is not precious and no one should be killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same.
Yeah. And somebody I saw say her name, somebody that I had on my page was like, say her name. And somebody responded back, why didn't she comply? Why didn't she do what the officers told her to do? You know, and they basically mimicked back everything that they tell black people, but black people are actually compliant and they still get shot. BTD mom, she had something, not that we want you to shoot them and kill them. We just want you not to shoot us like you don't shoot them. So I mean,
the amount of restraint they had for them people,
unbelievable.
Out of the world.
And it never would have happened. Never. They wouldn't have even been, we would have not been able to convene there like that in such a mass number.
Oh, they
would have not happened.
And cleared that building out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They let them people crawl on scaffolds and busting windows and climb walls and all. They would have cleared us out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In handcuffs with tear gas, bullets flying, rubber bullets, we would have been gone. Well, they would have prepared for us.
Yeah, right. You would when they got
Oh,
when you got there, they would have been
Monday.
there. Yeah. Did y'all see the woman that was crying because she said she got maced?
Right.
And she had an onion in her hand.
And an onion in the towel. Yes.
She said, "Cause it's a revolution."
But what's crazy for me is 3 of the people who died from like medical illnesses. Like one died from a heart attack, one died from a stroke, and the family of the guy who died from the heart attack was like, he was so excited to be there, and it was like, are we supposed to mourn this? Yeah. He was so excited to be there to break into the Capitol and to support this foolishness. It was like, oh, are we supposed to support that? I mean, do we mourn that? No life should be lost, but he went there knowing he had heart attack issues.
Now, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And just like the man from McDonald's, the owner here, he's like, he felt like he was there and was a part of history. And he's very proud of that. And he doesn't understand why all these people that he's done for here in the city have turned on him and da 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 da. So I mean, it's just insanity. You know, it's just mind boggling that some way somehow they feel like all of this that they did was patriotic. And the idea of being there, he said when he got off the bus and his feet hit the ground, it was like he felt like almost like the man had died and went to heaven, was having some kind of spiritual experience. So I mean, but that's how carried away they are with the Kool-Aid. That's what I'm saying. They're drunk. There's no coming back.
And to get them nowhere. They acted up. They look a mess. They look a fool. And the president and Biden was still elected as president.
I think they thought they were going to have a different outcome. I don't think that they thought that was going to be the outcome that they got. I think they thought something else was going to happen. I really do. I think they thought they would, like the girl said, we were having it's a revolution.
Well,
So
I hope they supply box lunches on that bus that Woodruff's wife supported, because they went on back home
yeah,
disappointed.
that is unbelievable. But I'm not shocked. And Clarence Thomas, you don't have to say too much about his
Right.
name to me. But now this is the thing, just like you all said, that there were cameras everywhere and you could hear the woman praying, right?
Mm-hmm.
How come nobody's been apprehended for bashing that man in his head and killing him? Ain't nobody been picked up and tried for murder. They're getting picked up for vandalism type crimes. But now you got cameras everywhere. You got microphones that can pick up conversation and everything else. How come we have not apprehended the man that bashed that police officer in his head and killed him?
Probably because he wasn't one of them.
I can see that.
I
And
mean,
the fact that they were able to break into a federal building like that.
Wasn't no
I mean,
break
they
into.
literally took like a
Yeah.
trigger to a window and they was in.
well,
That's crazy. This is the Capitol. This is where my stimulus check is coming from.
not the stimulus check. I'm with you, SK. They gotta have fingerprints. There's gotta be fingerprints on it. But you have not had. Maybe I missed it. But has anybody heard about it? The murderer being looked for or apprehended or anything? They ain't even mentioned who hit the man in the head with this fire extinguisher.
Now, what the murder was that the police officer?
Yeah, they bashed him in the head.
Okay, because they were saying and then he eventually collapsed later and he died.
Correct.
Somebody saw that, but again,
Can
they
you
all-
imagine if this were a Black Lives Matter protest and an officer was killed? Please.
Blue lives matter. Blue lives matter. Somebody's gonna die.
Blue
Somebody's
Lives
gonna
Matter
die
was out the window.
Shoot
early.
first and ask questions later.
Them things
Okay.
and fought them and did everything they wanted to do to them police officers.
Well, like I said, if you go on my page, you'll see one of the first ones that broke through, and he's literally screaming at a line of police officers, and they're looking straight ahead like they're military and like he's the sergeant. I promise you. Go on my page and you'll see it right there, plain as day. And I looked at that shot and I was like, that is absolutely insane. But it also made me wonder, does he have some kind of rank over them that he's an officer too, and that had them standing at attention? Because I just couldn't put that together.
And he could be.
Because they definitely were not giving him any flack. They didn't lift their hands. I mean, they literally looked like they were in a military formation and were staring straight ahead. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So at the end of the day, Mel, I do know it takes time to go through evidence, but I'm just saying, the same way they got camera shots of this and that and the other, and they picking folks up, and that police officer was inside and everybody was there with cameras. I just can't understand why nobody has said anything about who killed that man, who hit him in the head, because that had to be obvious. I mean, that there's some force with that. That wasn't no tap.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back away, and we're going to, hey, Flammadiddle Jones, thanks for coming in. I'm going to back away, and I'm going to ask one more time. We put some things out there. You guys that are in the chat, I know, SK, where was the backup? That whole thing was just fishy from beginning to end. They were literally in there for hours before anybody showed up to do anything.
For hours.
So, that if that ain't insanity, I don't know what is. I'm going to go one more time, and those of you that are in the chat, give us some ideas, because I'm about solution. I want to at least approach some ideas of how we can become solution driven in one more time, and then we're out. What, after all this conversation, pick any direction, but what can we leverage right now to galvanize this movement and keep it going forward for change? Because I'm not for it's been exposed. I want action. I want some resolution. So I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna give it to each of you to give your input and your final say, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Talk to us in the chat too. Put some ideas down there in the chat if you've got an idea, because I really am serious about how we can leverage this moment. We'll start with Tyrone and just work around.
So we're doing closing remarks?
Yes.
Oh.
But if you could do it around the idea of kind of pulling in some how and what can be leveraged in your closing remark.
So, I mean, my biggest thing is right now, I feel we have a momentum. I talked about mindset earlier, and I feel with all we've been able to accomplish with all the elections, whether it was presidential or, your local state elections and the House and the Senate and all that, we've really, picked up some momentum. I feel that it's given people a different perspective on their voice and their power. And we really just have to continue to push on that as far as just voicing change and wanting change and realizing what you were able to do, what with your one vote alone was able to make a change in the, the big picture and the small picture, like say in your state and your local communities. So we just have to continue to push on, keep this momentum that we have going right now. Reach out to your politicians, continue to push for change. We have to keep it going. We can't get comfortable. And that I feel that's what we fall short a lot of times. We get to a point, we voted that person in, and 9 times out of 10, most of us don't even know what they ran on, but they ran for a party that we supported. So It's important now that we push our narrative, we push what we need. We work together as a people to come together and figure out what our needs and our wants are. It's really big and important for us to start with a foundation and work from there. But we have to keep this momentum going. We've done amazing things within the last couple of months, despite everything that's going on. We had the pandemic, we had crazy Trump, and we had the white folks showing out. But I feel we have a momentum right now that we can keep going. And we just have to keep it going and work as a community and push for change. There's no better time than now for us to do it.
Cool. Thank you. Good points. Jonna.
I'm gonna agree with Tyrone. I think the stage has been set. Like you said earlier, there's no denying that there is a difference. Absolutely, still. And now's the time for us to continue. We got to go harder than we ever have, because if we let it go, they will let it go.
Absolutely.
And we've got to, all the things we've talked about over the last few months, we've got to now do it. We've got to get involved. Like Tyrone said, locally, we've got to push for bills. We've got to make our voices, get them out there, get them heard, and get together and not let this die. When we've got to push harder than we ever have, because it's just time. It came. It's not necessarily anything that we did. That it's just time. If you understand what I mean, the time is now.
Yes. Before you go, Rhonda, I'm gonna get some of these comments that are coming in. You guys are giving good points. Thank you, Jonna. Even in the chat, Black people and culture has been under attack for so long. PTSD is a thing. My hope and prayer is that this time inspires people to look within to see different possibilities, look towards personal healing, to eliminate thoughts and practices and ideas that do not serve them. Good word, Flamadiddle. Good word. BTD mom, push for housing and medical disparity, to correct medical disparity in our community. Good word. And Flamadiddle, it's hard to come up with new ideas while under colonial thought. Now there you have it. I think that Tyrone may even speak to why people, when you were addressing mindset and you're talking about mindset, but when you're under that colonial oppression, it is sometimes difficult to really think clearly. So I think that's great. Michelle, pay attention to what these bills actually say and quit voting because the candidates showing up at the church and suggesting what and who you should vote for. Come on with that, Michelle. Know what you are voting for. You said a mouthful. Oh my God. Kuji, we need to find a way to change the heart of man to really loving their neighbor again, period. I love it. I love it. Thank you. SK, grassroots change parallel with state and national change. Come on. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. And applauding Michelle's comment, because we really got to educate, and that's really going to speak to being educated. Like you said, Rhonda, we can't be ignorant. Push for passage of the George Floyd Policing Act, federal ban on no-knock warrants. Oh my God, that needs to stop all day long. Good stuff. Rhonda, I'm gonna let you have that final say and we're gonna wrap it up. I want to say thank you to everybody that put some solutions down in that chat, because that's what it's about. We got to galvanize this moment. We got to leverage it, and we got to get the momentum, keep the momentum, and don't slow down and don't look back for nothing, because this is our day. This is our time. This is our hour. It really, really is. Learn history of America came to be, and let's work together to not repeat the past. Thank you, Aguna. Thank you. And with that, I want to again say thank you to everybody that came in the chat and talked with us on this evening. And Rhonda's going to give us the last word and take us out.
I agree with what everyone has said. We're just going to keep their feet to the fire. Let them know what we will accept and what we will not accept. If they're not doing it, pink slips, it's time to go. Let's get them out. At the same time, sometimes we sit around and we like, where are the people at? I'm not hearing them doing anything. What are they doing? You know what? Because it might be for you to do. So look within and see, what are you supposed to do? You look around here trying to say, I don't hear nothing from nobody. I don't see nobody doing anything. It might be your job. So look and see what differences you can make. I need to look and see what differences I can make. And so that's what we need to do. And we have some shirts that they sent me one, and it said, "Fight for those without your privilege." Fight for those without your privilege. And
good word.
Everybody.
Good word.
Especially you know who. Anybody that have any of the whiteness. Fight for those without your privilege, because you don't want to say Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah matter. Okay, then just fight for those without your privilege, because believe it or not, you have a privilege. You don't want to believe that you do, but you do. So just fight for those without your privilege. Awesome.
And we're going to close with that last remark coming from SK. Remove current insurrectionists from Congress. And I agree wholeheartedly that if you're willing to stand up and cause and support an insurrection, you need to be out of there.
Correct.
You do not need to represent anybody in our government at such a high level. Well, there you have it. I appreciate everybody. Tyrone, Jonna, Rhonda, the Galactic Supervisor who's handling everything off to the side. I appreciate you guys. Everybody that's in my chat, SK, Aguna, BTD Mom, King Kuji, Michelle, Flamadiddle. I saw Joanne in there. I saw Monica, and I hope I didn't miss anybody in there. But everybody that came, I can't forget my girl Mel. Mel is my girl. Mel was the first one, honey. Mel was here before we tuned it up. She was already in the room. Come on in the room, Mel. Come on in the room. That's my friend. Everybody, we appreciate you for your input on tonight. Don't take this lightly. And it's not about who can do this and who can do that. It's really about what can I do, and coming into the reality. I'm here for a reason, and I'm here for this time. Now let's make this thing happen. Okay. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you. And we'll see you again next Sunday night. For those that come in Tuesday through Friday, I will be back with Yes You OQ one-on-one, just me and you, 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. And I'd love to see you there. And again, for everybody that made that hype train happen, thank you. I appreciate your support, and I cannot tell you thank you enough. I love you. And as I always say, peace for your journey.